Today is July 24th, 2025, and this is Read Through the Bible.
And we're still in Lake Tahoe, and in fact, we went to Lake Tahoe twice today.
That's right. We went to 2 different beaches. Mm-hmm. One time just to kind of hang out and do beach stuff and sit in the sun and play in the water and eat.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, we went to another beach and did some family photos.
Yep. And we have some fun facts about Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, so it's a really beautiful, beautiful lake, and it is actually the second deepest lake in the United States, second only to Crater Lake. Mm-hmm. It's a high mountain lake at about 6,200 feet elevation.
So it's super cold.
Super cold.
So you didn't go in?
No.
I didn't go in?
No. But it's super clear, super blue and turquoise. It's really beautiful. Also, it is the only lakes in the United States that are bigger in volume than Lake Tahoe are the 5 Great Lakes. So it's number 6 in volume.
Another fact about the lake is that in 2020, Yvonne did a 13-day, 12-night...
both of us did.
...backpacking trip.
Right.
In all around the lake on the Tahoe Rim Trail.
Yeah, it's truly one of my favorite things I've ever done. We did it with our daughter Carissa and her husband Caleb, and it's a trail that goes around the whole lake, 170 miles.
Yeah. And I did create a vlog of it every day, 15 minutes, 10 minutes of it every day. So if you want to watch what we did, I will link the first episode on the show notes. Okay, so today we're reading Luke chapter 12, which basically contains a bunch of stories about Jesus as he interacts with everybody. So, beginning of verse 1. In the meantime, when so many thousands of people had gathered together that they were trampling one another, he began to say to his disciples first. So, you commented about that verse when we were talking about this earlier, about just
it's a really strange context that's set here. So many thousands of the people had gathered together that they were trampling one another.
I think trying to get to the front, trying to hear Jesus, and listen to what Jesus says to these thousands of people who are just pressing in to hear him. Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Nothing is covered up that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have said in the dark shall be heard in the light, and what you have whispered in private rooms shall be proclaimed on the housetops. There's the eye of the Lord. Proverbs 15:3 is in every place, looking upon the good and the evil, that there will be a day of judgment when everything is made known.
Well, okay, verse 4. I tell you, my friends, do not fear those who kill the body, and after that have nothing more they can do. But I will warn you whom to fear. Fear him who, after he is killed, has authority to cast into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies? And not one of them is forgotten before God. Why, even the hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, you are of more value than many sparrows. That's very famous there. The hairs of your head are all numbered.
Mm-hmm. But again, the judgment, fear not those who can kill the body, right? But fear the one who can cast you into hell. And I tell you, everyone who acknowledges me before men, the Son of Man also will acknowledge before the angels of God. But the one who denies me before men will be denied before the angels of God. And everyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven. But the one who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven. And when they bring you before the synagogues and the rulers and the authorities, do not be anxious about how you should defend yourself or what you should say, for the Holy Spirit will teach you in that very hour what you ought to say.
Someone in the crowd said to him, and I guess this is still that crowd that is many thousands of people and they're trampling each other. Yep. Someone in the crowd said to him, Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me.
What a strange thing to shout out in the crowd.
But he said to him, Man, who made me a judge or arbitrator over you? And he said to them, Take care and be on guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. And he told them a parable, saying, The land of a rich man produced plentifully. And he thought to himself, What shall I do, for I have nowhere to store my crops? And he said, I will do this. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God.
So again, Jesus puts things towards the end judgment, how things are going to end up when we give account to God. Verse 22, and he said to his disciples, Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat, nor about your body, what you will put on. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothing. Consider the ravens. They neither sow nor reap. They have neither storehouse nor barn, and yet God feeds them. Of how much more value are you than the birds? And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to a span of life? If then you are not able to do as small a thing as that, why are you anxious about the rest? Consider the lilies, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon, in all his glory, was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass, which is alive in the field today, and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O you of little faith? And do not seek what you are to eat, and what you are to drink, nor be worried. For all the nations of the world seek after these things, and your Father knows that you need them. Instead, seek his kingdom, and these things will be added to you.
A lot of the Sermon on the Mount in there. Okay, verse 32. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the needy. Provide yourselves with money bags that do not grow old, with a treasure in the heavens that does not fail, where no thief approaches and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Stay dressed for action and keep your lamps burning, and be like men who are waiting for their master to come home from the wedding feast, so that they may open the door to him at once when he comes and knocks. Blessed are those servants who the master finds awake when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will dress himself for service and have them recline at table, and he will come and serve them. If he comes in the second watch or in the third and finds them awake, blessed are those servants. But know this, that if the master of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have left his house to be broken into. You also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour that you do not expect.
Verse 41, Peter said, Lord, are you telling this parable for us or for all? And the Lord said, Who then is the faithful and wise manager, whom his master will set over his household, to give them their portion of food at the proper time? Blessed is that servant, whom his master will find so doing when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. But if that servant says to himself, My master is delayed in coming, and begins to beat the male and female servants, to eat and drink and get drunk, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he does not know, and will cut him in pieces and put him with the unfaithful. And that servant who knew his master's will, but did not get ready or act according to his will receive a severe beating. But the one who did not know and did what deserved a beating will receive a light beating. Everyone to whom much was given, of him much will be required, and from him to whom they entrusted much, they will demand the more.
It's really struck as we're reading these things and the parables and the teaching, how much of it has to do with the judgment and the end and the return of Jesus.
Almost every one.
Yeah. And these are just, so when the crowds gathered, what did Jesus speak about? We spoke of the judgment and
warning implications in light of that.
Yeah, but it's not just straightforward. He talks a lot about just little stories and implications about how it's woven into so much of life. Verse 49, I came to cast fire on the earth, and would that it were already kindled. I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how great is my distress until it is accomplished. Do not think that I have come to give peace on the earth. No, I tell you, but rather division. And his sermons here, what he's talking about to these crowds trampling over one another, certainly will cause for division. For from now on in one house there'll be 5 divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. They'll be divided, father against his son, and the son against his father, and father against daughter, and daughter against mother, and mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
He also said to the crowds, when you see a cloud rising in the west, you say at once, a shower is coming, and so it happens. When you see the south wind blowing, you say, there will be scorching heat, and it happens. You hypocrites! You know how to interpret the appearance of earth and sky, but why do you not know how to interpret the present time?
And why do you not judge for yourselves what is right? And you go with your accuser, as you go with your accuser before the magistrate, make an effort to settle with him on the way, lest he drag you to the judge, and the judge hand you over to the officer, and the officer put you in prison. I tell you, you will never get out until you've paid the very last penny. Boy, he's really thinking about all the things he could speak about when he has crowds. He speaks about all these different sorts of things and how they affect people's lives. And maybe some of it comes back to the fact that the Pharisees were hypocrites, and he tried to really expose them, and how righteous living is what God desires and wants us to have.
Verse 40 says, you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. That seems to be applicable to all of these.
Yeah, I'm just really trusting the Lord that he's going to come back and living in light of that reality. Yep. Okay, we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.